everyone, my name is Riley and welcome back to the XSP Green Monster channel. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please leave a like if you enjoy the content and comment any suggestions that you'd like to see for videos. So a couple quick things first. The truck is still in the shop, which is why no content is being uploaded on that. I'm working on it. I'm trying to work with them. I'm trying to get it figured out. It's slowly getting there. They're trying some new things with the brakes, so hopefully you'll get it back soon. Second off, if you're a subscriber and you're returning to watch some of my new videos, thank you. I do really appreciate the support. It's really keeping me going here, and I'm just enjoying doing this every single day. So now to get into it, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how I believe you should properly lug your 1/0 wires. So if you're unfamiliar with the process, this is a lug, ring terminal, wire, mounting that. Some people prefer crimping, some people prefer soldering, some people like to crimp and solder. But today I'm just going to be going over how I believe it should be done. I like to solder everything above 4 gauge. So 4 gauge, 2 gauge, 1 gauge, 2/0, 3/0, and 4/0 wires. This is Sky High Car Audio 1/0 wire. OFC is equivalent to standard 2/0 wire. It's an oversized car audio, just like how car audio 2/0 is equivalent to standard 4/0 wire. So this is Sky High Car Audio. I have a Sky High Car Audio copper lug. This is everything you'll need for the video, this and things I'm about to show you. You will need some wire cutters so you can cut everything to the length that you want it. These are also the Sky High Car Audio wires that were in my toolbox, my car audio toolbox, which I will link right here. There'll be a link to that video on my car audio toolbox. You're gonna need something to hold the lug with while you're heating it up. I prefer to use these or some type of hose wrench is what they're called. I can't remember what they're called, but some type of clamping wrench that you can actually hold on lug with rubberized handles because it will get very hot. You're gonna need some heat shrink to finish up the job afterwards, some 60/40 electrical solder, and some type of torch. I like to use these. I found these nice big propane torches work very well, get heated up fast, just works a little bit better. And then if you have it, you'll need a heat gun as well. So we're gonna move over to a place with good ventilation, since obviously soldering fumes are not good to breathe in. So I'm gonna move you guys over to underneath the kitchen hood, the fume hood, kind of fume hood, underneath the smoke hood for the stove, since it's very cold and dark outside, since it's the middle of winter. So we're just gonna go under there. You do wanna make sure that you do this in a well ventilated area. So make sure to do that. It's not good stuff to breathe in, so you want to make sure you're either wearing a mask, you're not anywhere smoke detectors are going to go off because this does cause quite a bit of smoke, and that you're in a well ventilated area. Alright, so we're over underneath the kitchen thing where I can have some fumes go up and some smoke, and it'll be sucked up here. So I'm going to turn on the fan once I'm ready to go, so it'll be a little loud, but I'll make sure to talk over if I need to talk. First thing I like to do is take my solder and kind of get a good section of solder ready, since this does take a lot of solder. And you're going to take it, and I like to double it up like this and then fold it once more and twist it together so you can feed it into the lug, and it'll fill it up a little bit quicker once it starts going. So once I have that ready, you're going to want to take your wire. And what I like to do is I take these 1/0 cutters, move this quickly just for this. I like to go around. You want to do right about that deep. So you want to go till the wire will go all the way into the lug. So that's about where you want to cut it. It's about 3/4 of an inch is what people say. So you're going to take it. I like to just twist it with some light pressure and just take them and kind of go around and pop up the edges of it so you don't cut off any strands. And you're going to want to have a trash can nearby. I have a trash can right over the side over here, so I'm just going to take this off over the trash can and make sure you don't get any of these little copper wires anywhere. Alright, so there we go. You are left with a stripped wire. I like to just twist it, make sure you get all of those going the same direction. And I like to give this pull off any of these loose wires too. They're just going to cause you problems when you start to try and solder it. I like to take the lug and just make sure you get it over it and get every single wire inside. If you can see that, there are no wires sticking off of that. Get a close-up for you guys. So you can see there are no wires sticking out of that, which is what you want. And it's going to be a little hard since this is a short piece of wire, so it could be a little bit difficult for me to do, but we're going to go for it. Okay, so here we go. We got this all set up. We got this ready. We're going to take this and hold it with the pliers so you can put heat right here on this indent. So it'll heat up the bottom of this where you're going to be putting in the solder. So I'm going to turn on the fan. We'll get this all going and you guys can watch as I'm doing. Basically, let's go over it quickly. So once this gets hot, you'll see it change color in there and the inside will kind of look darker. Then you can start feeding this in. And you're going to feed it in until it's about halfway full, like right there. And it might catch on fire. Don't worry about that. If it does, you can just blow it out. But you want to feed it till it's right there. And then once it's that and it's boiling and really hot, you want to try and feed this in while the torch is on it so it doesn't start solidifying when you get all this hot liquid in contact with the cold copper, because that will make it start to harden much faster. So you want to try and keep it on the flame and you want to twist in your wire. If you just go straight in, you're going to get a ton of loose wire thread. So you do want to try and twist this in as it goes down and press it all the way down. Then you just want to take it off and hold it there for just a second. Alright, so let's go. Turn on the fan. You don't need it super high, just a little bit. You can see there it's not too much. Just enough so you can put this right over it. We're just going to hold this here until it starts to get hot enough to put some solder into it. Okay, so I can see the inside getting a little bit darker. So now we can take this and feed in the solder. See, there you go. It'll catch on fire and it will smoke a little bit. Just gonna unroll some more solder here. Alright, so that's about halfway full. I'm gonna leave it on fire there. So I'm just gonna blow it out. Then we're gonna put it back on here. We're just going to twist the wire into the solder and then bring it off of the flame. You're going to just hold it there for a second. You can press it down. And you just want to hold it. Just let it all solidify a little bit. And then what you want to do is, this is a really good practice. Not many people do this, but I do highly recommend this if you want a really good, solid, strong connection. Is you're going to turn this back on. And you are just going to heat up the top of this lug again. You don't need to heat up too much, but you just kind of want to go around it, put some more heat on it. It should still have a lot of residual heat. Just come up here to the top. I can feel the wire starting to get hotter. Just heat it up. Get rid of some of those marks. Alright, that should be about good. And what that's doing is it's allowing that solder to seep into the wire, which is an important step. So we'll come up here, I'll show you guys. Okay, so here is a finished product. This is still very hot. So you do want to let these sit. If you're doing a bunch of wires at a time, it's really easy just to kind of let it sit for a little while. It doesn't take a super long time to cool off, just a little bit. So you can see it there. It does have a little bit of color, little bit of discoloration there on the lug. This thing is getting really hot. The wire will get very hot, obviously, because you're getting up to a couple hundred degrees Fahrenheit. But you can see how there's no wire sticking out there around the perimeter. And I like to have it that way because I think it really helps it look nice and clean. You don't get those little bumps underneath your heat shrink either, which I have right here. But you want to make sure that you wait till this cools down before you start trying to put on the heat shrink. So this needs to be cool before you start doing this. So I'm going to take this and put somewhere where it can cool down for a little bit, and then I'll show you guys how I put on my heat shrink. Alright, so this has cooled off a little bit now. I can actually hold it without it hurting. So what we're going to do is, if you're really paying attention to your install and you really want everything to be nice, you're going to want to pay attention to which way this logo is facing. If you want it to go this way or this way. Since this is just a demonstration of how I think you should be doing lugs, I am just going to be putting mine on this way. So I'm just going to slip it over. Since the metal's still a little bit hot up here, I'm slipping over the other end. But I'm going to slip it over and I line it up with that line on the lug right there. You can kind of see that bend. So I like to just push it up to right on that bend and have it lined up just like that. Then I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to start on the back of it on low. So I'm just going to turn this on the low and I'm just going to start on the back. Just kind of off to this one side a little bit. And just make sure you get it all completely heat shrunk. Then I go over this side, I'm going to do the same thing. Kind of like 60 degrees from it, still on the back side. And just slowly heat shrink this side. Then we hit the back of it, I'll put it on high. With the back, and I may go over and I may go top to bottom. Whoops, you guys can't see. I'm going to go top to bottom on the front here. Make sure you get that bottom edge too. Alright. Turn that off. And there you go. There is what I would consider to be a properly lugged wire. And if you can see here, you can see that it looks nice. There's just a small indentation from where the wire meets the lug going around. There's a small bit on the back of the wire, that little bit in the heat shrink just from the way I heat shrink it, but it goes right up to the edge of that lug. It doesn't go onto the surface where it'd be contacting. And it lines up that logo very nicely with everything else. Alright everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed my little demonstration on how to properly solder a lug onto large wire. Just a quick little demonstration. Obviously you'd have a lot of lugs to do if you have a big install, if you're doing multiple runs, but it is kind of a time consuming process, so you have to be a little bit careful if you want to get a nice clean output. But I do really like the way soldering looks. You don't get those indentations around the lug, and I've never had a problem with any of these ever letting go. And you can still reuse lug if you wanted. I have pulled, you can cut it right about here, heat back up the lug, and then pull all the wire out of the lug, and then reuse the lug as well. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.